introduce themselves and tell us why they want your vote. Candidates' order will be picked randomly. There will be a timer off to the side for the candidates to see, and the hand in the air when there are 15 seconds left. That's Dave in the green shirt. After all candidates have spoken, questions submitted via email will be asked. First will be questions submitted to all candidates, then questions directed to specific individuals. Candidates will have 1 minute to respond. We'll begin with Trustee Sean Mackey. Paul Schaefer was unable to attend. Sean, give us an update on what's going on in the township.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to Valley City. Liverpool Township is great. My name is Sean Lackey. I've been a trustee here for 4 years, and my wife and I moved to the community 19 years ago. She trains horses, and we lived up north, and she said, come with me, we're going to Valley City. And I said, what are we getting, a couch? She's like, no, that's Value City. But I didn't even know where it was. And then we came out here, and we found a tax store and a little restaurant, and we fell in love with this place. We bought a house, and we've been here ever since. I opened Gandalf's Club 11 years ago. And, a lot of people I see here have had their kids work for us, or I've had people in the community. So my wife and I are all in. We love this little town, and I'm very happy to be up here as a trustee. So I appreciate everyone coming out. And just so you know, we have a police levy coming up. It was one of the levies that are announced. And basically it's, there's an existing levy that's actually coming off, but we want to renew that levy. And the reason why is because in 2012, the state of Ohio said any new levies after August of 2013 won't receive what's called a throwback provision. And that's what Ohio, back then, used to give money to reduce some of the costs of the levies. And so after 2013, they cut individual income taxes, and they're like, you know what, let's get rid of this throwback provision, we're lowering taxes. So any new levies would not be able to receive that. So what we're doing, we renew this levy that we have, because they expire every 5 years. And so this is maybe the third or fourth time this levy has been renewed, because that way we get the throwback provision money, and it costs the taxpayer less money. So in addition to that, we're also asking for a quarter mil levy to help with our police, to fund new equipment, the salaries for our deputies, anything new that we have, and what that translates to. And everyone's like, oh my God, a levy, here we go. But really what it translates to, coming back from the Medina County auditors, it translates to about $9 for every $100,000 valuation per year. So that's it. That's all we're asking for to raise, to keep our community safe. So if you support that in November, we really appreciate that. As far as like different things that we've done this past 4 years that I'm really proud of, I think the first thing I would bring up is our fire department. Right now we have a 24/7 fire department. I don't know, a lot of people don't even know that, and a lot of people who are new to our community don't know that, because we didn't have that before. We used to have a department 5 days a week. It was open at 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. After that, well, if you call, dispatch will get you from a neighboring community to what's called mutual assistance. So, you know, if you're getting a call, if you have an emergency and you have to call and you have to wait for an EMS from Brunswick or another community, I mean, that's minutes. So our first priority was to make our EMS, our fire department, 24/7. So right now, unless there's multiple calls, you're going to get our people. And it's actually trimmed our response times by minutes, and that's life and death. And so for me, that's our number one accomplishment. And so we have a lot of people in the community who will need assistance, and they don't have that time. So I'm very proud of that. I don't know if you guys noticed too, our parks, we built 3 new pickleball courts, brand new basketball court. So, and we did most of that with grant money. So it didn't cost the township very much money. So I don't know about you guys, but I love it. And it's so cool to go down there and see people playing, kids playing basketball. That's how we grew up. I didn't have a Game Boy or anything like that. Immigrant parents, they're like, Game Boy, what's that? Go outside and play. But then that's what we did. We played basketball or wiffle ball and we came home for dinner, and that was about it. But I'm very proud of that. We also have a senior outreach program. I don't know if people are familiar with that. We went to our area church leaders and said, help us identify the people in our community, the elderly, the vulnerable, the people that didn't need checking on. And let's put them in a database at the fire department, and once a month, let's pick up the phone and check on them. Let's make sure they're okay. Let's have a list of their prescriptions that they may need. And so far, that's starting to build. We're getting more and more people signed up for that. But again, life and death, look at the winter we had this past winter. It's pretty nasty. And to think there's somebody out there who's by themselves and they can't, and there's nobody to check on them, to me, this is why we're here, just to make sure that we take care of people. Another thing we did was transparency. Every single one of our trustee meetings now are televised so people can see them. We have a brand new website. We got our billing code. We have everything that we have, announcements. It's all on our website. We want people to feel like we're giving them as much information as possible. And to me, that's the best thing we can do, is be more transparent. So I'm very happy with what we accomplished, and I can't wait to work another 4 years for you guys. And again, I live in the community, and I love this little town, so thanks for letting me serve you.
John?
Thanks.
Got a few minutes left. Does anybody want to ask Sean a question about the township?
Are we gonna have dumpster days again someday, Sean? How the spring just went by and we had fall, we could have had them again this year.
Yes, we will definitely have dumpsters.
Thank you.
The problem with what happened is that they did construction on the sanitation plant, and they didn't really give us a whole lot of notice. And what we do on dumpster days, we go to the sheriff's department, and we get prisoners to help with the dumpster collection and loading it up, because all of us are old and too chubby to do it, right? So, and these prisoners can't wait to get out of their cells. Even the Valley City, I've never seen some people that be so happy to come to Valley City and get some Moski's pizza. So it's a treat for them, but it's really tough to line up to get the sheriff's department and then something like that to when they had construction like that, but at a moment's notice. But we definitely will do it this next spring. So save up your stuff. Christmas is coming, and I'm sure they'll add to it, and then we'll definitely make sure we'll do it, Mary Ann.
Thank you. It's just a nice service that the trustees can do for the community is what I'm getting at.
Right. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions? Anything they're thinking about?
You got to hang around, Sean?
I will.
Okay. Anybody wants to have a question or talk to Sean, you can easily head out in the hall, or Sean will be here when the meeting.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, everybody. I really appreciate it.
All right, let's get some things going here. On behalf of Mr. Schaefer, also, who's out of town on business, he did want to welcome everybody and thank you for coming. He's been a trustee for the last 16 years, and I know for a fact Paul is very diligent and cares very deeply about the community. So he is available if anybody wants to ask him questions or talk to him. So with that, we would I'd like to welcome a few special people here. We do have Jeff Stanton here, our superintendent of our schools. Board members Barb Dunkelman, Roy Salazar, and our treasurer, Mark Donnelly. I want to thank Gary Peterson here. Gary's handled all the arrangements for getting this event on. I want to thank Dave Cruz, who's our timer. He'll be running the gong this evening. Mary Liz Aka, my wife, Barb Smallwood, in the back.
part of school there, wasn't it?
Yes, board candidates, if you would please. Everybody is up there alphabetically by last name, so if you would take your seat. We're going to start with Kim there. Kim is seat number 1, going to seat number 5. And Dave Cruz here has a deck of cards, 1 through 5, just to determine who's going to get to speak first, so that one person is not under the gun every question or any time we speak having to go first. So once we determine who number 1 is, we'll stay in order and just go left to right, and everybody will get a chance under fire. So. Some of the questions we have, and we received well over 50 of them online. Many of them were the same question, posed a few different ways, but a lot of the same questions came in various forms. So we sorted them all out, had a couple meetings, and we've got about 15 questions here that cover everything that we've thus far gotten in from the public. There will be no open mic. If you have a question or you hear something here that generates a question, please go in the back by Mary Lou or Barb and fill out the form, write your question down. Make sure it isn't one that we're going to cover or have already covered. We hope to be done somewhere around 9 o'clock, so participation is always welcome. All right. Now, have you drawn a card, Mr. Cruz?
For 4.
Who's first?
Denise.
Denise.
Okay.
All right. What we're going to do is we'll start with Denise. All 5 candidates will be able to get 3 minutes to pitch why you should vote for them for Buckeye School Board. So Denise, you're on.
Before I get started, John Gerard is also here, one of our board members.
I'm sorry?
John Gerard is also here.
John Gerard.
Get started? Okay. Hi, I'm Denise Pavarchi. I've written mine, I will read it. I've lived in the Buckeye community since 1970 and attended Buckeye Junior High and High School and graduated in 1976. Chris and I were married in 1979, and Chris is also a Buckeye High School graduate. We have 3 sons, Adam, Christopher, and Tyler, all BHS grads, 2 daughters-in-law, Tara and Bethany, 9 of the best grandkids ever, all attending Buckeye schools, kindergarten through 10th grade. I have a deep love for this district and the community. I retired from Buckeye in 2014. I served as the administrative assistant to the superintendent my final 12 years. As a board member, longtime community member, parent, volunteer, and former district employee, I've been engaged in our schools for decades. I know where we've been, and more importantly, where we need to go. My deep roots in the community, combined with a clear vision and commitment to respectful collaboration, uniquely positions me to continue serving the district. I care deeply about our students, staff, and community. Over the past 3 years, there's been division in our community about how to move forward with addressing the facilities issue. I have spent extensive time listening to the community and understanding the needs of our students and staff, and I'm committed to staying the course to ensure that we meet these through the self-funded facilities plan. It is essential that our students have a learning environment that prepares them for success. Feedback from the community on this plan is positive, and we are certainly moving forward in a positive direction, looking to the future. As a community, we have to stop taking inventory of everything we feel is not right with the district and focus on what is right. Build on that. Stop tearing away at one another. because that only translates into tearing apart our community as well as our district. I am continually trying to find a solution to solve the division in our community. One thing I have come to realize, and I've really thought about this, is unanimous agreement is not the solution. At the core, I believe connection and collaboration are the solution. We must all listen openly to one another, treat one another with respect, and act with a shared positive purpose. Thank you.
And next would be Mr. Tim Seeley.
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Tim Seeley. I am a Buckeye grad myself, class of 1996. My beautiful bride is in the back. We're high school sweethearts. She is also a Buckeye grad, class of 98. Yes, I went younger. So a little bit more about us. We have 3 children. Noah is our oldest son. He graduated from Buckeye in 2024 and is currently at Bowling Green State University. Zach is our middle son. He is a senior at Buckeye. And then we have Cora, who is our daughter. She's a freshman at Buckeye. So that's a little bit about the family. We have a little bit more deeper roots. Our Kristen's parents are high school sweethearts as well. They graduated from Buckeye in the class of 69. Kristen's grandma graduated from Liverpool. We have generations here. I have generations here. I swear half of York Cemetery is filled with Seeleys. Just to say, we've been here for generations, 5, 6 generations deep here. So we love it here. We opted to raise our family here. We first started in Medina when we first got married, but shortly after that we decided it was time to move back to the district. So a little bit about me from a professional standpoint. I think that really is what's going to help me with the district. Is I have over 20 years in business. I spent 18 years at UPS, 6 years at my current employer out in Oberlin. And most of it has been working together collectively with folks, trying to find solutions to business needs. That's really kind of what we've done. Have some history with financials. I was the finance chair for our church for a while. I am actually running the books for Kristen's business. She owns a business in the district, so I'm running the books for her there. And then we put budgets together, multi-million-dollar budgets together at work. So I'm going to lean on those experiences to help the district. And really kind of what I'm looking at, I think my strongest suit would be trying to, kind of like Denise said, just where collectively get together with the community and try to understand what they see moving forward for the district. I like to work collaboratively, and yeah, I think that's just about it.
Thank you, Jim. That brings us back down to the beginning of the tables. Jim Sisella.
Hi, my name is Kim Sisella. I have lived in York Township with my husband Rich for 35 years. We have one son, Griff, who graduated from Buckeye in 2018 and graduated from Ashland University in 22. My mother, Jennifer, 91 years young, has just moved to Buckeye. I have a radiology degree from Metro Health. I am board certified X-ray and CT tech. I have a bachelor's degree from Tiffin University in business, a master's degree in healthcare administration, and a master's degree from Tiffin in leadership. I recently have taken a class at a night class at Medina Career Center, and I'm board certified EMT. I've been a CT technologist at Cleveland Clinic Medina Hospital for 23 years. I was a CT tech on the Cleveland Clinic Mobile Stroke Unit and a CT tech at Metro Health. I was on the Buckeye Board of Education from 2014 to 2017. I've worked in healthcare for 33 years. We scan people that are having the worst day of their lives. No one wakes up wanting to come to see us, and it's certainly something we hope we never see. But it is extremely fulfilling to be part of the team of frontline, high-skilled healthcare workers that are there in the time of need for our community. It exemplifies the best in humanity. I spent thousands of hours at Buckeye in the classrooms and on PTO. I chaperoned 6th grade camp, 8th grade Washington trip, Disney twice. I was on the band pit crew for 5 years, football games and competitions. I coached Buckeye soccer from U5 until U15 with my boys' travel team. I was on the BSA board, equipment manager, rec manager, cut the grass, lined the fields, did anything needed and volunteered at all the Adidas tournaments. I worked numerous times in both the soccer and football concessions. I was the person that painted the artwork on the football ticket booth and the concession stand just to try and make it look a little better. Our Litchfield Boy Scout troop provided volunteers whenever Buckeye School needed it. I'm here because we need someone to represent our community. I was part of the grassroots effort to vote no on the bond issues, and thankfully as a community, we voted it down 3 times. I hope to be on the board to help lead the district through the new high school building where not one of us had a vote. I plan to ensure we build only what we need and have bids throughout the entire process. A focus will be on maintenance, not only in the new building, but in the buildings we already have. I have 4 years of board education experience and plan to step up and step in. Immediately, I will provide transparency through community engagement in town halls and ensure our tax dollars are being spent appropriately and efficiently. I'm also pursuing a way for property tax relief. It needs to be done immediately so we can take effect before the 2025 new property tax increase. Please check out my website on Facebook. The buck stops here. I thank you for my vote. My name is Kim Siselic, and I'm running for Buckeye School Board. And I would like to thank the Valley City Community Group for this opportunity.
Thank you, Tim. Paul Leva, would be Dave's got something. Do you prefer Paul Leva or Cece?
It doesn't matter, honestly. Paul, Cece.
Cece, okay, you got it.
Just remember putting.
Hold on a second.
I'm having issues communicating, so I will hold this up instead.
Was that going slow? That was holding the right time though, correct? That was holding the correct time though, right?
Yes, yeah, this was working fine. It was communicating with the TV was the
Okay.
issue. So we're good.
And you have 30 seconds left. All right, are you ready? Go ahead, Dave.
Okay, hi, I'm Paulina Linder, also known as Cece. I'm 54 years old. I went to parochial school for elementary and 95% of my high school years, graduating early from public school in a work co-op program. I had 2 years of college for business management, accounting, and fitness and nutrition. My other business education came from personal experiences of starting, operating, and selling companies in the construction field and hospitality industry. I am the 5th of 7 children, married to Wayne Hoodinger, a 4th-generation farmer in Liverpool Township, and have 2 children and 2 grandchildren, 3 of which attend Buckeye. Currently, I am a school bus driver at a neighboring district. I have strong principles and personally practice honesty, clear, direct communication, and compromise. I'm an active parishioner and 5th grade religious education teacher at St. Martin's at Tours, and my faith is the foundation of my decision-making. I'm running for Buckeye School Board because I feel like we're not going in the direction that reflects Buckeye's true history and values. With quick decision-making and unthorough investigating, the current board is making changes at lightning speed while dismissing Ohio state laws regarding open meeting acts, also known as the Sunshine Laws. I'm also extremely concerned about the new $65 million high school project and other immediate capital improvement needs within our campus. This project, approved with a unanimous vote by the board, is not only moving forward without thorough planning or taxpayers' votes, it is not supported financially according to our recent 5-year forecast. And let's not forget the reason we're here, or that we even exist, which is education. The recent Ohio report card out last month has us at 2 out of 5 stars in progress and 3 out of 5 stars in early literacy and readiness. That is a real problem for me. I have lots of thoughts as to how we got here. Now I want to be on the inside helping so we don't stay here. I understand what I'm saying sounds negative, and by nature it is, because I believe Buckeye can do better. That being said, my goal is to bring positive change to Buckeye with open dialogue, improved communications, thorough investigating and research and projects, following open meeting laws, and providing better work and learning environments. These goals are for all people with a stake in Buckeye, which includes students, staff, and taxpayers. At the end of the day, it's about educating kids and respecting the people that pay the bills. There's more information that you can learn about me on my website, which is www.hoodinger for Buckeye School Board, or you can go to my Facebook page at Hoodinger for Buckeye School Board. You can also reach me by email at cchutt07@gmail.com or by phone 330-242-1621. Thank you. Thanks to Township too for us.
And that brings us to Seth Kuya. Let me get the timer going here. You don't pay him anything, so. All right. No, Seth?
Well, good evening, everybody. I want to first take a quick second to thank the Valley City Community Group for hosting this event once again. Both sides of my family are multi-generational Buckeye graduates with a rich history supporting Buckeye local schools. My wife, Carrie, is a proud Buckeye High School graduate. My son, Wyatt, is currently in 9th grade at Buckeye, and my daughter, Piper, is in 8th grade at Buckeye. My wife, Carrie, and I met after I graduated. She is actually the sister of my best friend, and she is older than me. Carrie works as a data analyst for a domestic violence shelter, sexual assault, and substance abuse treatment center in Worcester. She's phenomenal at her job, and I just want to take a minute to thank her and the kids because being a board member is a lot of work and there's a lot of sacrifice involved. So thank you, Carrie, Wyatt, and Piper. I was born and raised in Litchfield on the corner acres of my grandfather's farm, which he eventually sold and developed into 3-acre lots. My wife Carrie and I live in Valley City. We spend most of our time outside of work with our kids at baseball, softball, golf, volleyball, basketball events. And their friends and families have obviously become our friends and families. As many of you in this room know, that's just how it works with kids. In my spare time, I do a lot of deer hunting, which is that time of year, and my wife and I enjoy sauning in our homemade wood-fired sauna that we got a couple years ago, and cold plunging. I am a graduate of Buckeye, class of 2000. I'm a Kent State graduate. I graduated from Kent State with a Bachelor of Arts in Communication Studies and a minor in Conflict Management. I want to quickly cover some job history. I am on the board. I was board president for 2 years. I currently own a residential construction company. My first part of my career, I spent engaging communities both in Medina County and Summit County as an executive at the United Way. We spent the majority of our time working with local school districts with a keen focus on kindergarten readiness, 3rd grade reading levels, financial stability, and treatment for substance abuse and overdoses. My qualifications for this position go beyond just that, just what I did at United Way. I also have a strong faith that came from being a member of St. Martin's de Tours growing up, and that led me into the nonprofit field. When I graduated college, I set a goal to roof a house in every state for Habitat for Humanity. It was a lofty goal, and because of this community's support, I was able to accomplish that goal. I have 2 major visions over the next 4 years. One is certainly focused on the new high school build, and the second is expanding our curriculum, not just at the high school, but also at the middle school level and at the pre-K to 6th grade level. I encourage you to go out and vote on November 4th, and I'll have more opportunities this evening to tell you more about the details of my vision, but thank you all for spending time with us tonight.
Thank you, Seth. All right, we're going to roll into the questions now. And again, we received well over 50. Some of the questions, and number one will be one of them. And we took a number of questions and rolled them into one question because they all pretty much said the same thing. And rather than do them one at a time, they all will come out as a good answer when we put it together. So, Tim, you're going to be the first one to go here. This is a question for all candidates. Who reports to the board? What are the responsibilities of a board member? And should a board member ever get involved with employees and program implementation?
Who reports, that's a loaded question. It would be nice to have that written down somewhere so we can see the points, but who reports to the board? So I would say who reports to the board is the superintendent, the treasurer, and the rest of the staff that work in administration for Buckeye Schools. So what was the second question? I'm sorry.
What are the responsibilities of a board member?
Responsibilities of a board member? I think for me, it's listening to what the community is trying to say and work with them to make sure that the students of Buckeye have the best educational opportunities possible. Relying on the professionalism of the superintendent that we have.
Right. Thank you, Tim. Kim, same question, and I'll repeat it if you'd like.
I don't know the third part. Who reports to the board? What are the responsibilities of board member? What was the third one?
The third part is, should a board member ever get involved directly with employees or program implementation?
Who reports to the board? When I was on the board for my 4 years, we had Brian Williams. He left and went to another district. We hired Kent Morgan. So Kent Morgan basically was the representative for the board. Anything that we needed to talk to him about, he's the person. He's in charge of everybody below him. We also, at the same time, hired Jen Knapp as our treasurer, and she would be responsible to Kent at the time, or the superintendent. Responsibilities of the board members, I think that we're lacking responsibilities. I think the board members are representatives of the community. Everybody sitting here, we are going to represent you. And I'm done. Oh, I'm not done. And then the board members get involved in, I think, employees or something. That's not our place. Our place would be to sit with the superintendent if we had any issues, anything we needed to talk about.
Thank you. Cece?
Yes, a minute is really short, but, who reports to the board? Yes, superintendent and the treasurer is who brings the information to the board. What are the responsibilities of the board members? Definitely listening to the community, considering what the community has to say, all members of the community, even the ones they don't like. Should a board member get involved with employees? There is a process, a grievance process, where the board does get to hear if there's issues with employees directly. So that is an opportunity where they would be involved. But a board cannot answer an individual board member cannot answer on behalf of the whole board. If an employee, though, does want to share something or an issue or a problem, they most certainly can talk to a board member, but that board member needs to present it to the rest of the board for discussion. So, there you go. As far as implementation goes, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, I can't go around saying to a janitor or a custodian, do this or do that. It's not my place.
Okay, thank you. Seth?
Thank you, great question. Multiple questions. I mean, ultimately, the superintendent and the treasurer are the only two employees that report directly to the school board. The responsibilities of a school board are ultimately broken down with, number one, your job is to set the vision of the district. Part of setting that vision of the district is to give the superintendent and the treasurer the things that they need to execute on that vision. To set that vision, you have to engage the community. But you also have to look at data. You have to talk to other school districts. You have to not just focus on what does this community want, but you have to focus on what are the actual needs of the school district. Those have to merge, and that has to ultimately fuel the vision for the district. And then the last thing is ultimately set the budget and have some financial oversight. The treasurer typically is the knowledgeable person on finances, and most of the time we just kind of help him with that. And then as far as employees go, my opinion, the job of the board is not to manage day-to-day operations. Your job is to encourage employees who have issues to make sure they follow the chain of command up to the superintendent, and then if it gets to the superintendent's level, then the board can be informed and help make a responsible decision on behalf of the school district.
Okay, thank you. Denise?
Okay, well, actually, as defined by the Ohio School Boards Association, the board has actually 3 main duties. That is to hire the superintendent, hire the treasurer, and to adopt board policy. Any other recommendations come from the superintendent and from the treasurer. Now, certainly, board members are liaisons with the community, and heaven knows, we've talked to so many community members throughout my 8 years, thousands of community members. Getting involved in day-to-day operations is absolutely off limits. That's not something that we can do or should ever do. And my time's up. Thank you.
That was a long one, that was a multi-answer. This next question, a bunch of details. The last sentence is the question, but the details are important. This question is from Angie Drew. For all of the board members, Kim will be up first. The state legislature cut over $48,000 from what Buckeye was promised in the Fair School funding plan. We could have lost $591,000, but that cut was vetoed by the governor. Ohio public school funding is far worse than when it was declared unconstitutional in 1997. Not to mention all the funding going to private schools. Your question is, as a Board of Education member, how do you plan to deal with these funding challenges and advocate for our district with our state legislators?
Can I go first? It's important that we, when I was on the board, we went to the conference, the Ohio State Conference in November. And then we went to meetings and we sat in whatever meetings we wanted to. And we sat and we listened to what they had to say. A lot of the times it was people that were talking about funding and stuff like that. I think the funding is horrible in Ohio. They need to step up. I'm not sure if they will. They're trying to change things right now. But yeah, we have to somehow fight and advocate for our district.
Okay. Cece? I can repeat if you'd like.
No, it's okay. I'm just not used to using this amount, really. So as far as funding goes, oh my gosh, it changes, every other month it seems like. We're talking cuts here, property taxes, all types of different things. The best you can do is just work within the guidelines that Ohio gives you. It should be spread across the board evenly to the other schools. So, when it comes to how can you advocate, I've seen over the past year, superintendents, treasurers getting together and contacting representatives from Ohio, working together like that. Really, I don't really know how much more to do. Ohio's gonna do what they're gonna do. All we can do is say what we may or may not need. I don't think, though, our position right now is the worst position in the world. Even if some funding was cut, we're talking about saving $8 million in a year. So if you're telling me they're gonna cut $50,000 or something, I think we'll be okay for a little bit. So that's the best I can say on that.
Can you repeat just the question part, please?
As a Board of Education member, how do you plan to deal with these funding challenges and advocate for our district with our state legislators?
Yeah, thank you. Well, advocacy is key. It's not the only strategy, but we do have a responsibility as a board to encourage each other to advocate on our district's behalf. We have met over the last 4 years with Representative Melanie Miller and Senator Romanchek. They both have voted at the state level to decrease funding for public education. That's not on their website, but you can track their votes and clearly see that at the state level, our current representatives aren't necessarily advocating on behalf of public education. So we need to continue to advocate with them and show them. They've both been on our campus multiple times with tours. I've been at some of those meetings. You mentioned the unconstitutionality of property taxes. The state did take efforts to make that constitutional. One of those is the fair funding model. I do believe that the current fair funding model is fair. They do rank local school districts based on income level, and we are considered a high wealth district. So currently, locally, we have to raise about 75% of our annual budget, which is obviously a burden on our property owners.
Okay, thank you, Sal.
This next question is from Ken Roski, and, oh, I'm sorry, Denise.
That's
Just
okay,
throw something
I understand. Well, I have to say that I have actually reached out to Melanie Miller and Mr. Romanchuk multiple times, met with and emailed both. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get responses back from anyone. But I think our public school finances right now, and everyone in this room knows that it's a moving target, and the recent developments and changes happening in Columbus are happening. It's not every week, it is daily. It's happening constantly. What we as a board, what we have to do is we have to, once these are implemented, we need to get policy adoption and adjustments to implement as quickly as the state legislature enacts any changes that are made. And we really have to act quickly. And thank you, time's up. I could go on and on.
Okay, Tim.
Last but not least.
Better take it.
Okay.
You know, a lot of this is kind of new to me in terms of, you know, advocacy and things like that. But, you know, what I would say is, I do know that there's a state conference in Columbus. I think that would be an important place to hear new ideas, understand what's going on, keep your finger on the pulse, right? So I think that's important. Following the laws, obviously, would be another thing that we have to do. But I'm a firm believer that we hired a superintendent and treasurer for a reason, right? So I think we would follow their lead on a lot of things when it comes to ways to go. And then I think connecting with representatives within the state would be a good way to do that as well. So, thanks.
This next question is directed to either Seth or Denise, present board members. This is from Ken Roski. Per a Plain Dealer article in April 2025, excessive funds are held by numerous school districts that are not easily seen or found by local residents. The current board asked for a levy 3 times, knowing they had these funds. Why and what was the plan for these funds?
1 minute on this?
You may like to cheat a little on this.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair question. You know, we have spent 5 years building a campus and facilities master plan in partnership with the state of Ohio. We've engaged our community around that plan. As the planning process was underway and as the planning process would hit milestones, our treasurer at the time, Jen Knapp, our treasurer now, Mark Donnelly, they kept a close watch on what our revenue and what our balance was. School financing is difficult, so I apologize for the simplicity of a very difficult and confusing topic, but I'm going to make an attempt. When we started the bond issue process, we had $14 million in surplus. That was 5 years ago. Fast forward to today, we have $32 million, 32.7 in surplus. Now, I know there's talk, and we just approved a document that shows $91 million in projected expenses, or projected. But that's not how much money we actually have as a district to invest in things outside of the day-to-day operations. We have been extremely diligent as we plan and try to implement the best model of educating our kids to maintain our current expenses. For the last 5 years, our treasurers have maintained a flat level of expenses while we as a school district have added roughly $1 to $2 million a year, slowly turning into $3 to $4 million a year in surplus. So we went from $14 million in surplus 5 years ago to $32 million today. Where we were 5 years ago financially didn't allow us to self-fund a high school. But because we've been financially strict, and because of the failures of 3 bond issues, and because we've engaged the community in discussions over the last 12 months, we are now in a position to move forward with a self-funded model. We were not 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, or 2 years ago. I would say democracy has worked locally. The community has spoken. It took us 4 attempts to pass the building of our elementary school. We tried 3 times and it failed 3 times, and we heard the community. At the same time, our new treasurer has said, we gotta loosen up the purse strings a little bit. Let's try to self-fund a plan. Thank you to Roy Salazar and Mark Donnelly and Jeff Stanton for creating a self-funded model. By the way, we're still $8 million short from having enough in our surplus to make that happen. And Mark has laid out a plan, and I can get into that in detail. Mark has laid out a plan that the board has agreed with to save $8 million over the next 18 months, which would give us $40 million. We will borrow $23 million from the state. We can use the interest from that $63 million to generate an additional $4 million, and that puts us at $67 million of no new tax money to build a new high school, remodel the current high school into a junior high, and expand public pre-K. Thank you. And I don't have to answer the next question, if I'll give that minute back to the other candidates.
Finances are in any level hard to talk about in 1 minute. Starting with the next question, we're going to roll this to about
I thought it was for Denise too.
Pardon?
I thought Ken's question was for Denise too.
Or.
Either or.
And or.
Can we follow
Well,
up?
this wasn't either or.
Okay, can I follow up?
Yeah,
Since he had
for the
5
sake
minutes.
of time, we don't need to repeat everything that just came up.
Okay, I just wanted to say one thing. It's been 155 days since the last failed bond.
All right, are we ready? This next question is from Paula Wodzis. Hope I'm saying it correctly. This is for everybody. And Cece, you will be up first. It's 2 parts. What actions will you commit to so the harmful rhetoric that has long been going on in the district is stopped? And if elected, how will you engage with the board and the superintendent to create a collaborative decision-making process?
Collaborate with the, say that again, how will I collaborate with the board?
Yes.
Is that what you said, and superintendent? Okay. Okay, harmful rhetoric, I mean, the best you can do is, at board meetings, set the standards. You know, if you're gonna say things online or, in public or at board meetings or to residents or on social media, you have to stand behind it, and make sure it's not offensive. That's the best way I can say to not do the harmful rhetoric. As far as collaborating with the board and superintendent, I've been attending board meetings for over 4 years, about 4.5 years, and I follow all the rules that are set out that I have to follow. I attend the meetings, I look at the agendas, I make public comments, I do my 3 minutes, I do what I'm supposed to do, and I would expect that should be done by others. So collaborating with the board and the superintendent, as a board member, there's gonna be a lot of discussions. There won't always be easy discussions, but there's gonna be discussions, and you just have to handle yourself professionally and know that you're working for the best outcome for students, taxpayers, and employees. So, again, like I said, I treat others the way I want to be treated. So if I don't want someone to get down my throat and be offensive to me, I'm not gonna get down their throat and get offensive to them, so.
Yeah. Chuck?
I mean, I'm going to be very practical and treat this as if we were standing in front of students who are trying to demonstrate the portrait of a buck. I would say, get off of social media. I would say, I applaud the residents of our community who do come and spend time at school board meetings with us. I applaud the ones who are bold enough to stand up and offer some level of public comment, regardless of if I agree with it or not. But that's how we should communicate and demonstrate and model behavior for our students. Not behind a keyboard in the middle of the night or during the day at work, where we can say whatever we want. And clearly, I'm passionate about it because I don't have Facebook, which it seems that is the big thing. Now, I will creep on my wife's Facebook. She never goes on it, though. And people do send me some of the comments, and the majority of the hurtful comments, they're mostly, I believe, coming from a place of good spirit, but it's so easy to just get trapped on both sides of an issue with some level of he said, she said this, and what you should do and not do. So how do we work together and create collaboration? Be open-minded, but know that data should drive our decisions that benefit all 2,200 students in our school district, not just the small handful of students that often are impacted by a decision.
Thank you, Sal. Denise?
Well, I also agree, and I can repeat that we have to stop taking inventory of everything that folks feel is wrong with the district and focus on what is right. We have to come to the table and collaborate and connect in a positive way. The only way that anything is going to be kind of shared and agreed upon is to have open conversations and treat one another with respect. I do know that a school board candidate or member should never have a personal agenda coming into as a candidate. They should find the best way to drive the success of the district. This happens by working with families, teachers, administration, superintendent. Meet with the superintendent. If the superintendent says, hey, would you like to meet? Then you certainly take them up on that, and I'm not sure that always happens. Listening goes a long way. My family, and this is the Pavarchi family, has been in the district since the early 50s, and I feel a civic responsibility to continue those traditions and give back. I just think that everyone coming to the table and discussing the differences. We had a town hall meeting, and I don't think all of the candidates were there when everything was explained. So I just think there has to be a little bit of give and take.
Thank you. Kevin?
I would like to say ditto to Seth, but I think that'd be the easy way out, so I won't. But I agree a lot with what Seth said there. In terms of how to stop hateful rhetoric or whatever, I think you have to be honest with what's happening in the district, right? And then be very open-minded to other folks' point of view. You have to listen. Kristen, she may say, I may say I listen, she may disagree with that, but I will tell you, I think she would say I do listen and then I internalize it, right? So I think that's what we need to do. I think, as a district and actually as a country as a whole, I don't want to get on a soapbox, but I think we've gotten away from the idea that we're all human and we all have points of view and we can listen to each other and agree to disagree. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's how you kind of stop the rhetoric. You lead by example, and I think you carry those values and those mindsets into the job as a board member, and then working with the superintendent. So, thank you.
Thank you. Kevin?
So I was on the board, as I said, Brian Williams left and we hired Kent Morgan. And what you do when you hire a new employee is you kind of mold them. You kind of tell them how you want to handle things, how you want to work within the district. One thing that we told him was we wanted him outside in the district. And if you ever knew Kent Morgan, he went to every single possible, anywhere the students were, he was there. When I was in the band, helping the band out at Brunswick, he came out on the field and actually moved the instruments with us, and he helped. So Kent Morgan, when I ran again after my first term, I just wanted to keep things going. He was hugely into transparency, and the district was really in a good place. As far as collaborative, I went on the task force. The task force was completely ridiculous. It was a closed group, there was 50 members, and I got kicked off after the first meeting. So, and that was Mr. Stanton kicked me off because I wanted to talk to the OFCC person that was, he was in charge of the ELP agreement. And I just had some questions for him. I wasn't allowed to contact him directly. I had to go through Mr. Stanton, and he was going to contact him directly. So there was no collaboration. I got kicked off, and it was completely closed.
All right, thank you, Kim. Question number 5. We'll start with Seth. This is from Vanessa Swank for all the candidates. How have you been actively involved with the schools the last 4 years? Please be specific. And what do you hope to accomplish if elected?
As I said in my intro, my kids are way too involved at Buckeye. So most of my involvement outside of being on the school board and being the board president for 2 years is ultimately spent helping my kids and their teammates be successful on the field or in extracurriculars. I'm going to spend the last minute here talking about 2 key things that I hope we get accomplished in the next 4 years. Number 1, design and build new high school. And I'm going to read this because we don't have much time. We need to improve all facilities using the current funding resources with no new taxes. And we can do that. I just explained the funding model. We need to give Jeff and Mark, our superintendent and treasurer, the supports needed to accomplish our facilities plan. As a board, we need to continue to work together and overcome the many challenges that we'll face over the next 4 years. Number 1, we need to engage stakeholders. Revise the current junior high and high school curriculum to focus on career skill development and college preparation. Design the building based on that vision. We need to partner with workforce leaders to assist in that development. We need to engage our teachers and staff because they know curriculum the best. And obviously, we need to review our finances. We met with 4 architects this afternoon. We can and will stay on budget and on time for that. And then the last one, which I'm not going to get into, when we move into the new building, we can turn the current high school into a middle school. That frees up space at our elementary school to do more hands-on learning, expand pre-K, and do a family resource center to help parents get their kids ready for 3rd grade reading.
Thank you.
I was on time. First time.
You're getting better. Denise?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
How have you been actively involved with the schools the last 4 years? Be specific. And what do you hope to accomplish if elected?
Well, with 9 grandchildren, I've been very active in many of their sporting events. I've also been I would say one of the inner circle members of Mrs. Keith, who is now retired, but now the program is still living on at the junior high school, the Confetti Project. And while I am not there 2-3 times a week, I am there probably 10 times, 15 times during a grading period. Just depends on when their deadline is, and then I might spend an entire day at the junior high. So I've really met some super cool kids. My first year was her first year with Confetti, and actually those students are now seniors, which I'm just tickled to see those kids now as seniors, and I still email them through their school email and wish them best. So that, having said that, sports, Confetti Project, I'm very involved in that. I think what we really need to do is we need to, as a district, I believe our 5-year strategic plan is ending. I think we need to develop a new 5-year strategic plan, because that truly is, I have 10 seconds, the North Star for mapping out positive impacts for staff, students, and our community, because we have great parents in our district, and we need to get them also involved.
Thank you, Denise. Tim?
So for the last 4 years, obviously I've been a parent. That's a big thing. It's probably one of the largest responsibilities I have outside of being a husband. So along with that, I am the VP of the Athletic Boosters. I've been doing that for the past couple of years. I'm actually also a member of the Buckeye Education Foundation. I've been working with them for the past couple of years as well. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say I'm a retired youth baseball coach. Too young to retire, but I did. Boys had moved on. So what I would hope to accomplish as a board member, I think Seth nailed the first one, is get the new high school built. That's one thing that we need to do. Another thing that I'm learning, I'm eager to learn about it, is the curriculum and what we can do to better prepare the students, not that they're ill prepared, but better prepare the students for the new age. Life is changing, work is changing, AI is going to change the world. We don't even know how it's going to change it. We need to be prepared for that. So I'm interested in what the curriculum is going to look like. And then most importantly, I want to bring the district back together. I feel like there is a little bit of a divide. And I think there's a way for us to keep one foot in the past, holding on to values that we've seen over decades here in the school district, and move the district forward. So, thank you.
Thank you, Tim. You never retire from coaching. Kim?
Past 4 years, I was on the task force for a little while. I was on the FACT committee, which was the first round of meetings that we had through Fannie Howie, the architect. And I've been very consistently with the band. We do a lot with the band still. Greg King retired, but we still are with them. I just wanted to bring out a couple things. Seth keeps saying no new taxes. We are taking out a $20 million loan for this school. The last loan that they had talked about was a $10 million loan, and that was $750,000 a year that's going to come out of the general fund to pay for that. This $20 million loan, which I actually heard was $23 million, is estimated to be $1.5 million that's going to be coming out of the general fund, which is something that we're not talking about. And then the last thing with the new school is if the school's being built, it's being built. I think we have a fantastic school in the vocational school. I think it brings all kinds of jobs, real world jobs that the kids can get out and do today. So it's fine that you want to keep some kids at Buckeye, but also LCC, Tri-C, anywhere they want to go. They have Ashland, they have all the colleges they can go to too. So I think it's important that we let our kids go anywhere that they want to.
Thank you, Kim. Please.
Yes, so I started working at Buckeye for about 3 years. I started as a parapro and playground monitor and cafeteria monitor, then I was a cook and then driver. I volunteered for boys baseball and soccer recently for the last few years, and then also when my daughter was younger. So I did it, took a break, and then did it again. Very active in the board meetings, like I mentioned, for over the last 4 years. In the community, I had booths at the Valley City Street Fair talking just about schools in general. I also volunteer for field trips when I have the opportunity, and I was also part of the first building committee, the FACT committee, when Jeff Harrison was there for the first $80 million on. There is so much that I would like to accomplish. One is finances and proper account representation. There was a time where we would, if we had to transfer any money from the general fund to the athletic fund, if it was over $100,000, the board would have to give the approval to the treasurer. So the treasurer would say, can I transfer this $100,000 from the general fund to the athletic fund? And they would say yes. The first time I heard that, I asked questions about it. They explained their answers, which is fine, but they get $100,000, $100,000, and $300,000. And their answers that they gave did not sit well with me, and I'd like to dig more into those types of things. Also, maintenance plans. Maintenance plans, before a single brick goes up on this new building, we need maintenance plans, thorough ones.
Okay. Thank you, Stacy.
Next question, this is for Cece. We received a number of these questions in. We chose the one from Robert Newman. It was the most appropriately written and somewhat factual to our knowledge. Cece, the Medina Gazette published an article on October 13, 2023, reporting you had been involved with inappropriate physical contact, not sexual, with a special needs student, which prompted an investigation. You resigned your position as bus driver before the watermill hearing with the administration. Do you believe you can serve as a board member given your employment history with the district?
Absolutely. That story was about an incident that was grossly over-exaggerated and blown out of proportion. It was a smear tactic used to discredit my name while running for the board 2 years ago. It was just a teenage kid having a bad day. These are some very important facts to consider about that article that was anonymously given to the Gazette in October while running for the board. No injury was sustained or reported by the school, student, or parents. No written or verbal complaint was made by the student or parents. And no report was made to the state of Ohio. It was completely blown out of proportion. It was on the heels of a 72% failed bond for the $80 million ask that I was involved with. Everybody knew I was vocal about that. It also was on the heels of me writing a letter about my supervisor to the board saying I did not think she should have a contract renewal before her renewal was up very near that same day, during that same time period. The incident broke no laws, no rules, and it was the board and the superintendent that said, quit or get fired. And if we fire you, we'll report you to the state of Ohio. Because it must not have been that important unless I didn't quit. And the only reason I quit was because I was running for the board, and if I won, I couldn't work there, and I wanted to change jobs before, in the beginning of a year. I already had a job application approved before I got all that stuff. Yes.
Okay, thank you. The next question is both for Kim and Cece, and either one of you can choose to go first. You are both organizers and administrators for the Buck Stops Here and the ABC Group. Both are closed to anyone who doesn't share your views. You post information and figures that many say are misleading. What will happen to these groups if you are elected?
Well, I'm the administrator of the Buck Stops Here. It's my page. Everything that I post on there, and they've even come back and said to me, is from Mr. Donnelly. It's 100% true. I post every single piece of paper that I get from the school. I have all the figures written out. There's not a lot more that I can say about that. What's going to happen with the Buck Stops Here is it's just going to be transparency. It's just going to be written down what we're doing, what's happening, and the changes that we're making. Did you want to say anything? And I'm done. Thank you.
Cece?
Yeah, can you repeat that again? You said the ABC and the Buck Stops
Yeah,
Here?
I'll read the whole thing again. You are both organizers and administrators for the Buck Stops Here and the ABC Group. Both are closed to anyone who doesn't share your views. You post information and figures that many say are misleading. What will happen to these groups if you are elected?
Okay, so first of all, again, the comment that he's making that's saying they're misleading, that's his opinion that they're misleading. As she says, she gets public records and puts them out there. People can interpret it any way they want. People can put their opinion on it any way they want. Yes, I'm not an administrator, but I do comment on that page. If you read any of my comments, I'll stand behind my comments. I have no problem with that. The whole division, and the ABC is the same thing. We meet, we get facts, and we have no closed anything. It's not like we're not like a legitimate, hey, we have meetings every month or whatever. But the same thing, we get public records and record on those public records. You know, when this bond issue came up the first time, the 80 million, if people want to talk about everything becoming a division, that is really the start of it. People spoke up and said they didn't want it. So you're gonna have division. And the board even said at meetings, well, the only way we're gonna know if people want this is if we put it out to a vote. So they did, and that's great. But the answers came back the way they came back. That's not her causing division or me causing division. Taking public records and exposing public records is however you want. I know there's many people here that say they love it. I know there's people here that say they don't love it. That's as simple as it is. How we solve that can be a little more complicated. That's when the compromise comes in. That's when the hard conversations come from everybody, not people who are excluded from meetings.
All right, thank you, Susan. All right, this next question is for all the candidates, starting with Denise. It's your turn to be first. Will you all commit to a public forum open to the public to state position and finances and all differences pertaining to school funding and infrastructure, so they can be resolved and the public will have the correct information? This forum could be facilitated by the Valley City Community Group, and I'm also allowed to speak for the Northern Medina County Chamber of Commerce, who would also sponsor such a meeting where all of you would sit down in public with the administrators, put your facts and figures on the screen, and let the public ask questions and let the public see which figures and facts are correct. So Denise, would you commit to a public forum on that?
Absolutely, and we did by having the town hall meeting. I think it was the 20th of August. We did at our high school auditorium. We did offer that, and we did have a nice crowd, and we had a question and answer process. Not everyone showed up for that, but yes, I would be willing to do that. Now, one of the challenges to that is if you invite all board members, then it becomes a board meeting, and it's not mediated by another entity. It's an actual board meeting because all 5 board members are present. If you have 2 board members and the superintendent, the treasurer, and the 3 candidates who are running who have questions, then certainly. However, if it is in fact 5 board members, the superintendent, the treasurer, and anyone else who wants to come, we're simply repeating what we did at the town hall, and perhaps that needs to be done. I mean, I'm all for collaboration, and let's get together and let's figure this out in my time. Mr. Dave is telling me my time is up, but yes.
Thank you. Tim?
So I guess I'm not quite certain on the nature of the question in terms of, is it after being elected or like now in the next 4 weeks?
We would be willing to do this as soon as possible.
Okay, so I guess either way, my answer's the same, but I just wanted to make sure I could clarify that. Yeah, I mean, I'd be willing, I'd be open to anything, right? I think this position as a board member, you're a public servant of sorts, right? So I'd be willing to talk through anything. Yep. So, yeah, simple.
Okay. Kim?
Yes.
Cece?
Well, honestly, I'm kind of busy, you know, job and all, preparing for this election. I don't understand what the purpose of that meeting would be. Again, their finances are public records, their, PowerPoint, when they have their, board meetings are public record. I request them all the time after that, so I'm very aware of where they're getting their finances and their reports. I'm bothered with that when I apply, when the board puts out invitations for people to join meetings, and then they reject people to joining those meetings, but then they want to set up other meetings when, for one, I'm not as versed with, you know, they're in this day to day. The 5 board members are in this and have conversations on many different levels with the superintendent treasurer. They have quite an advantage to things that I'm not even privileged to. I take my public documents, and like I said, when I go to board meetings, get the information. Oftentimes she posts it. It's pretty clear what the finances are. So I'm not really sure what there is an advantage or a reason for that. Like I said, and we're talking, what, a couple more weeks to go? I've ignored my family long enough, I think. I don't know.
Is that, do you know?
I think I'd be interested in that.
Unlike CC, I would be more than happy to do that. I would do that weekly. I love serving this community on the board. I run a small business. I have 2 kids that are overly involved and active. I have a wife that likes spending time with me, but she also understands that as a board member, I make a commitment to serving this community, and that is something that her and I have agreed to invest time in, because it is the future of our community. The only advantage our board members have is we seek to understand. We don't know school funding. We have to learn it. We have to take a complicated concept that the state has created, and we have to seek information from a skilled treasurer and other consultants to understand school financing. We seek that as board members, to understand it. We don't just take the information and publish it. We try to explain it. I absolutely welcome the opportunity to have a third party facilitate a conversation. I'd love to help work out the details. I would absolutely, without a doubt, only agree to doing this if we can also involve our school treasurer, Mark Donnelly, and any other school treasurer in the state of Ohio who knows this much better than, in essence, a volunteer concerned community member like myself or anybody else who gets elected. But I'll invest as much time into that concept as needed.
Okay. We will get back to all of you as soon as possible with some potential dates, and we'll see if we can make it happen. Next question. Tim, will be starting with you. An easy one. From Kristen Collard. If elected, what areas would you like to see the school district focus on?
So I think it's important for us to note that the school district, from my understanding, is performing pretty well, right? So, we perform at a pretty high level. So this would be a little bit nitpicking, but I think the biggest thing for me, which is surprising for me, but is the curriculum. Zach, our middle son, is a senior at Buckeye, but he is in the sports med program at the Career Center. So, like I said before, I'm interested to see what we can do from a curriculum standpoint to prepare the children, the students, for what's coming over the next, 20, 30, 40 years. So I think that's it. That's my piece.
Kevin.
I actually have this written down. Busing is the biggest problem that Buckeye has. As I posted on the buck stops here, the district has a responsibility to ensure the students get to school every day. It is unfair to burden the parents to cancel routes or have the kids sit on a bus for an excessive amount of time. I would increase the driver pay immediately to entice and retain drivers. With a new school, the community needs a watchdog to ensure the money is being spent accordingly, and the community will have an input and a voice. My education, experience, community commitment makes myself an excellent vote for Board of Education.
Yeah, Susie.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. If elected, what areas would you like to see the school district focus on?
Okay, so I agree with Mr. Seeley, the tech that's coming up, the AI and that mixing with the curriculum we have now, I think is huge. There are just way too many shortcuts that can happen, and again, with the state report card, showing that there's some lower levels in a couple of areas, I just think that's huge. Again, I have my ideas on part of the problem, but I think we need to really figure out how we're gonna use this tech and at what age groups and how we're gonna use it, to what degree, so these kids can have their brain smarts before their computer smarts. Also, the busing is an issue, but the maintenance plans, for a couple of years, I've been saying before even when the building was getting discussed, we need to have long-term maintenance plans and budgeting and figures. The maintenance plan that we have right now is just a to-do list of things. There's no time frames, there's no dollar amounts. And yes, I know that's an evolving thing that's, changes with time and whatnot for all different types of reasons. But we have to have that. We gotta get our finances in order before we see if we can really do this high school project to the degree they want. So those would be some of the top two.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. Great question. I'm going to cover this pretty quickly. First, safety and security. Our campus needs to be a place where all community members, students, and teachers feel safe and secure. Over the last 4 years, we've continued with a full-time resource officer. We've loosely begun to talk about potentially an additional resource officer. We've made upgrades to all of our building entrances, primarily at the elementary school. We have met with multiple state reps on campus to talk about safety and security. We've implemented a bus tracking GPS system, and we've added a video board at the sheriff's office. Thank you, Board Member John Gerard, for your leadership on that effort. All of that has been grant funded. Thank you, Bridget Elias, our curriculum director, for gathering those resources and helping us make those upgrades. Second, I'm not going to highlight this too much, but we've got to make our high school a better choice for kids to stay on campus and be ready for both college and career when they graduate. We are not running for the Career Center Board. We're running for the Buckeye Board of Education. And my focus is to do everything I can to make sure Buckeye is a great choice, not the only choice, but a great choice for kids to stay on campus. Transportation is a significant issue. It's not our most important issue, but it is a significant issue. We can solve it certainly by a multi-pronged approach. We do have to increase the pay of our drivers, but I have to tell you, we need the support of their union. We cannot increase pay of any employee without the union that represents them support. And we're working diligently to get the union to vote on it for the second time in 3 years. We need our union to support the ability to pay our drivers more. That's not just on the board members. Last, financial oversight, and I hope to get to you, I'll run through the actual maintenance plan that we don't have, but I do have one in front of
Denise.
Okay, what would I like to see the district focus on? I have to say that I'm very proud what this board and administration has accomplished thus far. First on my list would be to continue to enhance student safety and student success on many levels. And Seth spoke to this for our security. And I do thank John Gerard and our local sheriff's department for their help in this. We need to remain diligent in hiring the very best personnel for our kids. Our kids deserve the very best. And we are a strong and attractive district for excellent applicants who are looking for jobs out in the market. Buckeye is very, very attractive. So we get high-level applications from applicants to work at Buckeye. Buckeye is known in the entire area for having great kids, as well as supportive families and parents. Buckeye actually has become a role model in Medina County to other schools. So I'm very proud of that.
I need to apologize when we welcomed people earlier. I did forget a school board member, Mr. John Gerard. John is retired just recently from the Sheriff's Department, and by the end of the year, will be hanging up his school board hat. From the Valley City Community Group, I gotta tell you what a great friend as a sheriff and a school board member he's been to our city and our group. So Johnny, thank you, and best of luck. I'm sure your wife has a list of things for you.
All right, next question. We're going to be starting with Kim on this one. Running a school district is very complex. What leadership and/or financial experience do you have that prepared yourself for this job? Can you share a time when you worked collaboratively with others to achieve that leadership or financial goal?
Well, I was on the school board for 4 years, so obviously that's a collaborative effort. I have a master's degree in leadership. I work at the community hospital, been there for 23 years. Side by side with a lot of the Buckeye graduates. I don't know what the rest of the question, I completely forgot the rest of the question, but obviously I've been on the board, so I know exactly how we work together and get stuff done.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Certainly. Running a school district is very complex. What leadership and/or financial experience do you have that prepared yourself for this job? And can you share a time when you've had to work collaboratively with others to achieve that leadership role or financial goal?
Yeah, so as I said before, I was in owned business. I had business ownership in construction business and restaurant business. So I had employees and startup businesses and had to work collaboratively with them to get the job done and keep them there. I also had experience at a homeowners association, and there were 530 homes. We were also the sewer company, the water company. We took care of the roads, buildings, lake, whatnot, zoning codes and bylaws. I was the liaison for the board between their attorneys. We had a sewer project that we transferred our sewer ownership as private to the county of Lorraine, which was a multi-million-dollar project, and they did all types of different sewer work, and I worked hand in hand with that construction company during that, as well as the commissioner. We settled a lawsuit, I can't remember, it was somewhere in the $1 million range that was ongoing for at least 10 years. Finally got that settled. That was a huge deal. Me and a couple of the board members did that in mediation. So that was working collaboratively. That was a huge deal. Also, when we had the board meetings, I represented the zoning department. If someone didn't have their lawn in order or their house was falling apart and we sent them a notice, they'd come to us and say, you know, why do I have to do this? Or
Okay, thank you. Seth?
Can you repeat the question again? Sorry, Dave, I just want to make sure.
Sure. Running a school district is very complex. What leadership and/or financial experience do you have to prepare yourself for the job? And can you share a time when you've had to work collaboratively with others to achieve that leadership goal or financial goal?
Thank you. It certainly is complex. Over the last 4 years, I've learned a lot about public education funding in the state of Ohio. I certainly am just dipping my toes in, but it is complex. Some examples of that is I ran the United Way of Medina County, about a $1 million a year organization, and I was one of the executive vice presidents at the United Way of Summit County, which is about a $15 to $18 million organization. I was tasked at both of those United Ways to completely remodel how United Way is investing resources into the community. Both of those changes took over a year and a half to engage the community and our donors to identify what are the greatest needs in our community, and certainly everybody has an opinion on that, and then to identify the greatest needs. The exact highlight I want to point out, though, was the creation with Akron Public Schools of their College and Career Academy model. We turned every single high school in Akron, 7 of them, into mini career centers. Our job as a United Way, part of that collaboration, was to engage the business owners in resourcing, both with volunteers and finances, to turn those high schools into actual college and career academies. It was a phenomenally rewarding experience, multi-million dollars at play on an annual basis. And if you research it, Google Akron Public Schools College and Career Academy model.
Thank you. Jenny?
Well, as Seth said, school financing is very complex. However, our last year, our family-owned business operated our businesses that had a $70 million business. I am the vice president of those businesses. So I feel like I bring a lot of business to the district. I also have kept track of some of the extra funding that we get. Last year, we received $780,000 per year from Nexus. Of course, not to bring in Cloverleaf, but they collect over $4 million per year due to the pumping station. Our total operating costs per pupil were second lowest in Medina County. Our administrative costs were also third lowest in Medina County, and our cost per student was the very lowest in Medina County. Historically, we have struggled with financials to operate schools, and I worked for Buckeye during those very lean times. I started here at Liverpool. This is where my home base was in the district, and it was pretty lean. I'm telling you, we were actually just giving teachers reams of paper to use, and we were collecting after school, the principal and I, after the kids left, pencils off the floor so that we could have pencils. My time is up. But yeah, I've been through lean times, so I understand it.
Thank you. Tim?
Yeah, that's all right. So I think I touched on a little bit on the financial and leadership experience. From a financial standpoint, I'm responsible for putting together a budget every year for the sales at our organization. And I work closely with our president to do a full-blown P&L every year with the budget. So my personal budget at work is somewhere around $3 million, and then the overall budget for the company is probably $15 million or something like that. So in addition to that, like I said, I help Kristen's gymnastics company. I run her books for her. I do the taxes every year. I'm sure Rick is thankful that he handed that off to me, but he was a pretty good teacher there. And in terms of the time that I work collaboratively, I do it on a daily basis. I do it annually when we're putting together budgets. I have to work with teammates to look at bear traps that may be coming down the road over the next 12 months, look at a variety of other things, market conditions, things like that. And you have to take everyone's point of view and experience into play there. So I think that'll help. Thanks.
Thank you. We're almost done here. A couple more. This is from Kristen Collard. This is for Tim, Cece, and Kim. What experience, and you've already touched a little on this, but what experience do you have balancing multi-million-dollar budgets, but also negotiating contracts with unions? And Kim, why don't you, Kim just got done.
I was on the Buckeye board for 4 years. We had the unions were renegotiated at that time. Can you explain that again? Say that, answer that question again for me real quick.
What experience do you have balancing multi-million-dollar budgets and negotiating contracts with union groups?
Okay, our role on the board was basically just to sit back. We have lawyers that handle that, the treasurer handles that, so we sat back. And I did sit in the room to listen what they had to say. Each board member took a turn. As far as balancing $1 million organization, that's the treasurer. That's the person that you put in charge to take care of that stuff. If you have any questions with them, you ask the questions, and then obviously the 5-year forecast, you get involved in that.
Okay. Cece?
Okay, so, yeah, I did have, like I said, lots of experience. When I talk about the business ownership, those were companies that were start from the ground up, from nothing to something. And they were quite successful at the end when they were sold. Again, at the homeowners association, that was just huge. I had so much experience there between residents and, like I said, lawsuit settlement and sewer transition. That was a huge learning experience for me. As far as working about it with the school, you know, you just got to ask a lot of questions. I'm a question asker. I ask a lot of questions, and one question usually leads to, the one answer usually leads to 4 more questions. So that's the biggest thing for me, working, if I was on the board, to ask those questions and get those answers. It's very hard though, like I said, just making public comment, you know, getting a couple minutes and then being done. There's no dialogue back and forth. As far as the union goes, when I was a school bus driver, I was very active in the union. I actually ran to have positions on that, went to all the meetings, worked hand in hand on negotiations behind the scenes. There were a couple issues that were not being met in our contract that I was very active also in trying to fix between not only our union representative, but also the board. So I had lots of experience with that when I was a bus driver.
Jim?
I don't think I need to talk anymore about the budget and things like that. I think I've kind of stated my case there. Regarding negotiating with unions, I may be a little naive. I don't know that that's the responsibility of a board member. So I don't think that is. So I would refer to folks that we have hired on staff to handle that. But from a negotiating standpoint, yeah, I negotiate contracts all the time. So.
Okay. All right, last question. This is for CC and Kim. When we're done with this question, we're doing real well on schedule here. So you'll each have a minute and a half to sum up, give your pitch, and we'll see if there's any other questions from the audience. But the question for CC and Kim, we talk often of community pride. Many teachers, parents, and residents feel demoralized by the constant levy fights. You have been publicly very critical of every move that the board and administration has made. Why should voters trust you if elected to work with these people for the betterment of the entire Buckeye system? And either one of you can go first.
Sure. So again, we were presented with a bond. I didn't present that bond. I didn't present a yes or no vote. I went to meetings, I went to FAC meetings, I learned as much as I could. I formed my own opinion. I brought the information to the voters. I was the first person, since it was a May vote, I put a sign up in my yard and I said $80 million levy in May. And people came to me and said, what is this? I said, well, it's coming, you know, educate yourself on what's coming up. And they did. That's not a dig against anybody. That is being transparent and open to the community. That's me taking what I know and giving that information out. It's up to everyone else and their responsibility to find out more as well. I publish facts. That's what I publish. I post facts. I post exactly what I get from the direct source. I always go to the direct source. I pride myself in that. As far as community pride, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna work as hard building up the school in the ways I talked about in a positive, as hard as I am giving the truth to the taxpayers with the bonds. So I have a passion for that. I just don't go yes, yes, yes to whatever comes my way. I ask questions and I say, let's get these questions answered. It all comes down to knowing what the community wants and being open with the community.
As I said a little while ago, I spent thousands of hours in the schools and outside of the schools helping out kids, helping out the parents, helping out teachers. I bleed brown and orange, I always have. The only reason I'm sitting here is because I care about Buckeye. If I didn't care about Buckeye, I would just be sitting at home. As far as the bond, it failed by 72%. So I'm not sure how you can come up and say that we had anything, we were the reason that it failed. It failed because it was a bad plan. It failed 3 times because it was a bad plan. We're sitting here, I'm sitting here because I want to help. I want to bring the community back to Buckeye. I want you guys to be involved. I want you guys to know every day what's going on. We'll have meetings, Cece and I will have meetings sitting here with you guys, explaining what we're going to be doing, explaining the money that we're spending, explaining how we're taking care of the kids. And like I said, we're missing a football game. I would like to be at the football game. I go to football games all the time because even, as long as I've been out of Buckeye, I still know the kids and care about the kids. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. We do have a couple questions for individuals that have popped up from the audience. Seth, I'll pass this one to you. This is from a union member. Why would any union vote against a pay increase? Bus drivers in parentheses. What concessions were asked of them?
That's a great question. So why would unions vote against the pay raise for, let's just say, bus drivers? Unions help build our country. They've helped secure important rights for all employees, not just those that are in the union. A union would vote against that because they're doing exactly what they're tasked to do as a union, protect the rights of all employees within that union, not just one employee group in that union. As far as concessions going, again, Tim mentioned, typically a board trusts that the treasurer and our administration can properly negotiate in a proactive way with our union. What concessions they've been asked. I mean, ultimately, we have to have strong, healthy relations with our union for us to get kids to graduate successful. We have that right now. We continue to offer our union resources. We negotiate with them. Both sides make compromise, and it ends up being a very healthy, productive negotiation process. What we're asking the unions to do is to, in many ways, go against what the definition of a union is. And that's why they offer it to their members for a vote. Whether it goes the way we want as board members or not, we continue to try to solve the problem of retaining and recruiting bus drivers. Again, it's a multi-pronged approach. One of those is we need to increase their pay. That has to be in partnership with the union. Our union is doing exactly what they're asked to do by their members.
Thank you. The next question we have is from Nicole Baum to the new candidates, it'd be Kim, CC, and Tim. How do you plan to engage local and school organization leaders, PTO, athletic boosters, especially Kim, since you have chosen to already write off some of those leaders? Your name was mentioned first, so I'll let you go first, Kim.
I have no idea. Where's Nicole? She's here tonight.
I'm here. Oh, I'm here. Yes. How do you plan to engage the youth organizations that you have chosen not to include those people in your discussions that you choose to have?
what you, I honestly don't know what you're talking about. What youth organizations and what discussions have I
Well,
had?
if you want to be a member of the PTO, current members,
I
I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. I spoke wrong. If you would like to be a board member, a Board of Education member, those board members that are currently sitting, engage those youth organizations and include us in conversations or participate in volunteering opportunities. You have chosen to write off some of us, including myself, in those conversations. Will you continue to do that if you're a board member?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I was on the PTO long before you were on the PTO.
Oh, I'm not saying you
I
weren't.
was a head room mom for years. I did all the contributions. I did, I was in the school almost every single day doing stuff, helping the teachers out there. I don't know what groups, you personally I might have excluded, but that's only because you came after me.
Oh, yeah, okay, we'll stop.
But I have absolutely no problem with any of the students, any of the groups, any of the.
So can you answer the question? How would you continue in the future, not the past, including those of us that you have written off?
I would go to your meetings, I would sit and listen to what you need, and I would help you in any way I could, any way I could.
Okay.
All right, good. Susie?
Yeah, I mean, I would kind of guess there's a little bit of a relationship just naturally because we're all connected in the school, whether it's through superintendent conversations or us going to a meeting or an event or you coming to board meetings with different groups. So I would just naturally think we would have some type of relationship talking somewhere, somehow.
This sounds like a relationship with groups like PTO
Yeah, exactly.
and booster clubs.
Sure.
I don't think the superintendent's involved in that one.
Well, no, but they're all school groups. There's conversations that go between everybody, I'm sure. So if a PTO or someone has a question to the superintendent, I would hope the superintendent would say, hey, here's a concern or an activity that would be a conversation. If there's an event, I love going to school events. I show up probably at an event. Sometimes if there's an event going on and they need volunteers, I've offered to supply an item or something. So see how we wouldn't have some type of intermingling. And what else was there? Was there another part? Was there another part to the question?
No, that was,
okay.
that was it. Jim? Anything, how would you involve yourself with boosters and PTO type organizations, parental organizations?
Yeah, so I think first things first is being present. You have to be present, being active in the community. If it's a Friday night and there's a home football game, chances are you'll see Chris and I working in the concession stand. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun when you're rubbing elbows with other folks, kind of doing the same thing for a common good. So I think I'd probably do more of that. You know, I think it's important. I don't want to make sure I say this right. I think we did it right years ago. If you look at the basketball program that we had for a while, we had a youth program that was developed and was really strong, and then that's a feeder system for the high school, right? So I think it's important to engage that from the high school level coaches down, and you can do that on a number of ways, but from a board member, I think it's important just to be active and listen to the community.
Okay. This next one goes to Seth and Denise in that order. What is your position on any new levies, both operating and or capital?
It's a great question. So at the end of this year, 1.4 mils will be falling off of all of our tax bills if you're a property owner in our district. That is a 25-year commitment that we are paying off. We've been diligent about making all of our payments on time. I'm getting to the answer, but it's exciting that 1.4 mils is falling off because for past boards, past treasurers have done a great job. Currently, my plan, because we do have the resources we need for me to say this, is I believe very strongly that we can let the current emergency levy non-renew. That is a $3.2 million a year ask from our taxpayers. And with the current funding model that the state and the Medina County Auditor has presented to us to play by, I believe if you reelect me, I will fight to make sure that we do not renew the current emergency levy. We let that expire, again, saving the taxpayers $3.2 million a year.
Okay. All right, this next one, again, probably better taken offline, but I'm going to ask
Are you gonna,
Cece.
was Denise gonna answer that one or no?
Oh, Denise, you want to add?
Sure, absolutely, and I completely agree with Seth on this. I know that, let me get to my finances, what everyone needs to know and understand is the total interest earned from 2020 to 2030 will be applied to the new high school, which is roughly $12 million of the $63 million, which is about 19% of by interest is how we'll pay for that new high school. Technically, with the $12 million interest earned from 2020 to 2030, plus the approximate $11 million from the OFCC, once the high school is built, we will actually be 35% or a little higher of the total cost of the new high school will be paid by interest earned and partnering with the OFCC. I'm incredibly proud of that. I think that is, it's really something that we need to brag a little bit about.
Okay. All right, this last one, I don't know if there is an answer. It's an ever reoccurring problem in every school district. There's not enough bus drivers. But this is from Nora, I think, Nipper. I'm very concerned about busing a second grader arriving home via bus at 5 o'clock. That's unacceptable. I would love to hear possible solutions for busing from the candidates. What are your ideas to improve this? Tim, any thoughts?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I will tell you, it kind of hit personally with me on this. My sister has a daughter in the district, and this happened in the first couple of weeks. And I was a little dismissive to my sister about it, but I will tell you, she wasn't happy with me, but, you know, I said, I'm pretty sure the district is doing what they can, and I believe that. I truly believe that. But there's obviously room for improvement. So I think this is similar to what we're seeing with officials like throughout the country. It's difficult to get officials to do soccer games, basketball games, umpire baseball games. There's just a shortage. And I think Buckeye's not unique in that. It's certainly not unique in Ohio, and it's not unique across the United States. So I think what I would do is dig in. I don't know much, but I would dig in and try to understand maybe where the disconnect is. I hear money being thrown around. Money doesn't always solve things, you know, so maybe that's not the issue. I don't know, but I think I would try to dig in to understand.
Okay. Kim?
It's a complex problem. It's not something that's going to be fixed right away. To start with, I would raise the pay to $25 an hour. I would also have some type of a retention bonus that if either at the end of the year they stay, they get $500, or at the beginning of the year they sign up again. Obviously, we have a lot of issues going on because you're losing 4 or 5 drivers a year, really good drivers. That's a job that I would never want to do. There is absolutely no way you could pay me enough. $25 wouldn't even cover it for me. But we have to get to the root of the problem. We have to see why those kids are on those buses. When my son was in school, there was 3 people that could do it. You have a mechanic, you have an assistant mechanic, and you have a transportation supervisor. They are all CDL certified. They're all bus certified. They could jump on that bus if they needed to, and that's exactly what happened when my son was in school. They didn't cancel routes. They might have been late to a route or something, but they never canceled routes. I can't imagine how a parent could leave their kid at home, go to work, and then have to worry about if their kid is not going to go to school during the day. And that's ridiculous. And I've heard that they get the day off. They don't get charged an absent. Well, we're missing out on that. We're not providing a service for these parents.
Cece?
Okay, so that department needs a deep dive. A deep dive. I was in it. I experienced it. It needs help. Not all districts are suffering. Some are, but not all. A lot of people are getting out of this lull that we had over the past few years with the nationwide issue. You know, when we combined into one school and we lost these schools in each township, that made a huge difference in covering the district. You know, we're talking coming all the way from Stone and the very far end of Litchfield into the center of town and picking up a whole bunch of kids in between. Those kids by design are stuck on that bus for too long. That's got to change. We need to really look outside the box on not only getting more drivers, but also changing our routes and the way we've been doing them traditionally. I believe that there's a problem with the leadership in that department. That was part of what I said was the reason that was part of my scrutiny with that one incident. So there you have that. There was something else I jotted down and I can't find my note.
Yeah, I just want to applaud the leadership in that department. Karen Golden and her team are trying to bail water and stay afloat as their boat actively sinks many times on a daily basis. They are trying to keep kids safe and secure the best way they can, knowing that they can't just stop transporting kids to create a solution and then execute on that solution. Bus driving is an extremely difficult job. No different than umpiring or coaching. It is often a thankless job. So how do we solve that? It's multi-tiered. I already talked about the pay increase. I know our administrators are working hard to make sure that our bus drivers not just get a certain dollar amount, but that we're in the top 3 highest paying bus driver district in the county. It's got to be a discussion where it can't just be a solid dollar amount. We've got to be able to offer bus drivers in our region a reason to come to Buckeye, not just for a standalone dollar amount, but we should be able to say as a district, we're always in the top 3 with bus driver pay. I also think we have to design a protocol and a process for parents to self-transport to extracurricular off-campus activities as a last resort. We've got to create a policy and a protocol and a way so that when we have no bus drivers to do extracurricular, our parents can step up and fill that role. Last thing is, how do we offer drivers extra daily tasks so that they can make that a full-time 8-hour-a-day job? And then finally, again, 2 finallys, we have considered partnering with a private transportation company. It's right now not in the best interest of our district to do that. We've got to try other solutions first.
Okay. Denise, anything there?
Well, I do know. I know that Mr. Stanton, Mr. Justice, Mrs. Gallman, they are meeting absolutely every day to try to figure out how we can best transport our kids. And I do agree with Seth that we need to come up with something that for the extracurriculars, because I do know we've had to cancel some extracurricular activities. Getting kids to and from school may not have been perfect, but to actually cancel after-school activities has been very difficult on families and students and other schools. And I know, only because I am personally involved with junior high football, I know so many of the games that were supposed to be played in Parma or here or there were actually somehow our athletic director through our superintendent were able to negotiate or talk to some of these other districts and have the contest at Buckeye, which has been wonderful. Now for football, I know that's easier than say volleyball. Time's out, because the gyms are busy. The gyms are packed. So I know that's difficult, but for football, it actually worked out.
Okay. All right, before we wrap up in the summation here, I want to thank Sensational Sound as our friends that provided all the AV. And I want to thank Armstrong TV Cable for being there. Mr. Cruz, can you belt out how everybody can see themselves on TV and look at this?
So Armstrong will be editing, and not from your kids. They're using 2 cameras, and they do this for us. They've been doing this for like, Mike, what, my last 3 candidate nights, I think you've been here? Yeah. Generously offering to do this for us. They will provide us with a link tomorrow. We will put on the valleycity.org website, you can scan the QR code if you don't know, if you want to remember that. We will also have a post on Facebook, the Valley City Community Group on Facebook. It'll have a link that'll take you to YouTube, and you can watch this entire debate. That's the wrong word, too. You can watch the whole thing on YouTube and share that with others that couldn't make it. We originally planned to do this last Thursday, but then there was the parade. And then we moved it to this Thursday, and then unbeknownst to us, there's a football game going on tonight because their conference changed everything to tonight instead of Friday night. Did not know that, but that's why we're taping it, we'll show it, share it with people, please. Thank you.
All right, with that, you said 1 minute. If you cheat, you say a minute and a half, we'll let it slide. Cece, you would be first up to give your summation, and we'll go down the line and finish with Kim. And thank you all for being here. You're a great, courteous audience. We really appreciate you being here. And December 13th and 14th is Christmas in the Valley.
It's always a commercial.
All right. Cece, sum it up.
Okay, so there was lots to be said, way more that needs to be said. A minute and a minute 30 is nothing. So what I'm just going to say is, please visit my website. Again, it's www.Hoodinger for Buckeye School Board. I also have a Facebook page, Hoodinger for Buckeye School Board on Facebook. Leave me some questions. I'll answer your questions. Yeah, look, I am all for community. I'm all for open dialogue. I'm all for open sunshine law meetings at the board meetings. I really want to get a handle on these finances, and I really want to see a maintenance plan, which, yes, there is a maintenance plan, but that maintenance plan is just, again, a to-do list. There's no time frame, there's no dollar amounts, there's nothing to work on to say, when is this roof getting done, this phase 3, and how much, and where we're putting that in the budget. This is a huge concern for me, and I really believe it needs to happen. So like I said, get to know me better on my other pages, and vote for Hoodinger.
So,
the elementary school roof replacement is phase 3. It'll happen this upcoming summer, roughly $1 to $1.5 million. If you want to see the PowerPoint, it was given at a board meeting about a month and a half ago. Okay, my vision and goals are to continue the strong financial oversight, work with school stakeholders to design a building and campus that is focused on preparing kids for the future, and to make our campus safe and secure for all students and staff. We will do that with the current funding structure we have in place. We will allow the emergency levy to expire, and we will continue to be good fiscal stewards. In my life experience, we are always better and stronger when we work together. Things just taste and feel better when we're working as a team. When leaders unite instead of tear down, when communities participate in building a unified vision of growth and support, when we focus and believe in something greater than ourselves, we can certainly climb to the heights that our current and future students expect and deserve. I will continue to focus my time as a board member on engaging with this community around the common goal of doing what is right for our kids, whatever that may be. I will continue to make decisions with a laser focus on those students' safety and the growth of our students. I look forward to discussing this further, and I appreciate and humbly ask for your support on November 4th. We are partnering with We Are Buckeye 2. We hope to have a Facebook Live event next Thursday. More details to come. And thank you to the Valley City Community Group. Thank you to Jeff Stanton and Mark Donnelly for spending your evening with us. I appreciate your leadership for our district every day. Vote for me on November 4th, please.
Okay, what should voters know about me? And I'm not attempting to step on any toes here at candidates night, but I think the folks here in this room know that I have more love and passion for our district, our students, and our families more than anyone here. I am always asking, how and what can we do to make Buckeye better for our kids? I want to continue volunteering my time and resources to our students and staff. I love this job as a member of the board, and I want to keep doing it for every child in this district. I am not running for re-election because I have a hidden agenda. I am running because I love our students, staff, their families, and our community. And I am humbly asking for your support. Early voting began, I believe, 2 days ago, and it runs through until Election Day, and I would appreciate your vote again. Thank you.
Tim? Most of the night has been off the cuff, but I did kind of write some thoughts on this one. So I want to start with the idea that as a retired coach, one of the things that I used to tell the boys is, you're wearing a jersey, right? There's two names on the jersey. One is your last name, right? That's given to you, so you got to take care of that. And the other one is the community that you represent, and that was Buckeye. So those are two things I really try to drive home with the boys, and I hope that's a lesson they carry with them their entire life. So with that, here are my thoughts here. I hope that everyone knows, the voters, that I will come with an unwavering focus, a genuine passion, and a commitment to honesty. I will be open-minded so that I can be receptive to opposing viewpoints. I will be diligent and level-headed while making thoughtful decisions impacting our school district. Above all, I thrive in collaborative environments, valuing others' perspectives and working toward a common goal, and that is helping Buckeye be the best version of itself. I would appreciate all the support come November 4th. Thank you.
This is where we are today. We had 3 failed bond levies. The community said no. The board went ahead and spent $65 million of our tax money without a vote from the people. We need two people that are going to be watchdogs to watch what's going on, the voice for the community. We had absolutely no choice before, and now we have to watch what's going on. And then we never did talk about maintenance. I didn't talk about maintenance. Maintenance is a huge problem at Buckeye. Obviously with the junior high, they wanted to close the junior high. It was horrible, it was deplorable, and they were going to close it. If I was on the board, I would go around with the custodians and the health department every 6 months, see what their punch list is, see what needs to be fixed. I know when I looked at the yearly health department reports, every single year was the exact same things. There's a windowsill in the junior high that's broken, there's lockers that are broken, and nobody's ever fixed it. So I would make sure that the maintenance team, I would like to know what the maintenance team does personally, that's just my own opinion. But I would also make sure that the maintenance team reports back to the board every month. This is what we did, this is what we did, this is what we did. The high school roof, I just found out isn't going to be fixed. It's got 11 leaks in it. There's not in the budget this year. It might not be in the budget next year. That's where we need to put the money at, is in our buildings. We need to make sure that our buildings, the kids are safe, warm, and dry, and the teachers are also safe, warm, and dry. So I just want to be on the board to be your voice and to make sure that you do have a voice on what's going on, because we haven't had it so far. Thank you. I appreciate your vote.
And Cece.
Oh, I did mine. I
Hey,
wasn't as good as
everybody
theirs,
good?
but I did mine.
All right, I'm gonna put the pressure on you. All but one of you said you would meet in front of the public to discuss tax figures. I'm gonna give you my cell phone number right now. I'm gonna give you 6 dates. And you can tell me if those dates, any of those dates are good for you. My number, again, Dave Smallwood. My number is 216-533-7117. I'm gonna stay away from Thursday and Friday night football games. I'm gonna say October 20, 21, and 22, and October 27, 28, and 29. The last 2 weeks of the month, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays. If you would send me this day or days are good for me, I will get with the Chamber of Commerce and we will put something together so that maybe we can come to a consensus on all the numbers and facts and figures that are out there. Thank you, candidate, absolutely, you did a great job. Thank you for everybody being here. If they're not gone already, have a water and a cookie.